Philip Michael Rivers is an American football quarterback for the San Diego Chargers of the National Football League. He played college football at North Carolina State University, and was drafted in the first round of the 2004 NFL Draft with the 4th overall pick by the New York Giants, who traded him to the Chargers for their first overall pick, quarterback Eli Manning. Rivers' career passer rating of 95.7 is 4th best all-time among NFL quarterbacks with at least 1,500 passing attempts. Rivers is ranked 3rd all-time in consecutive starts by a quarterback in NFL history. After starting Chargers quarterback Drew Brees went to the New Orleans Saints following the 2005 season, Rivers came off the bench to lead the Chargers to a 14-2 record in his first season as a starter. In 2007, he helped the Chargers win their first playoff game since 1994 after beating the Tennessee Titans in the wild-card round of the 2007 playoffs and eventually leading them to the AFC Championship Game. Early life: Rivers was born in Decatur, Alabama, where his father, Steve, was the head coach of Decatur High's football team and his mother, Joan, was a teacher. Rivers went to Decatur then moved to Athens. As part of a 5th-grade project, he had to make a poster about his dreams and aspirations. On the poster, he pasted his face over that of a Minnesota Vikings player who had appeared on a cover of Sports Illustrated. He has worn the number 17 jersey since the 9th grade. It is in honor of his father, who wore the same number in high school. After his dad, Steve, got the head coaching job, Rivers played high school football at Athens High School and nearby Athens. Rivers' first start in an official game came in the 7th grade, in 1994. He would not see the bench again until his rookie season in the NFL. As Rivers' unregistered trademark senior season unfolded, he established himself as the best prep passer in the state of Alabama. Although he had offers from Auburn and Alabama, neither projected him as a starting quarterback. Rivers rejected them in order to go to a program where he would have more playing time. The first college to seriously recruit Rivers as a quarterback was North Carolina State. Joe Pate convinced Rivers and his parents to consider graduating from high school in December 1999. College career: after high school, Rivers attended North Carolina State University in Raleigh, North Carolina, where he played for Coach Chuck Camato's NC State Wolfpack football team. Rivers enrolled in January and suited up for his first practice as a college quarterback in the spring of 2000. 2000 As a freshman, Rivers led NC State to an 8-4 record, including a win against Minnesota in the Tangerine Bowl. 4 of the Wolfpack's victories were comebacks. In his debut, a 38-31 double overtime win over Arkansas State, he directed a 74-yard game-tying drive as time expired. A week later, he threw for 401 yards in a 41-38 win against Indiana. The performance was highlighted by a clutch 47-yard strike to future first-round pick Kieran Robinson with under a minute to go. Against Duke, NC State trailed 31-28 late in the 4th quarter when Rivers scampered into the end zone on a 7-yard run. For the season, Rivers passed for 3,054 yards and 25 touchdowns. He broke a half-dozen school passing marks, was ACC Rookie of the Week a record 8 times, and earned honors as the Conference Freshman of the Year. For the first time since Roman Gabriel ran the Wolfpack offense in the early 1960s, NC State had an All-American caliber quarterback. 2001 In his sophomore year, Rivers connected for 2,586 yards and 16 touchdowns. His 65.2% completion mark led the Atlantic Coast Conference. The Wolfpack finished the 2001 campaign at 7-4 and made a return trip to the Tangerine Bowl. The quarterback had a great game against Pitt in a losing cause, garnering the game's MVP award for the 2nd year in a row. 2002 In 2002, Rivers led the Wolfpack to victories in their first 9 games. It was the best start in the school's history. The season took a disappointing turn however when they lost 3 consecutive ACC contests, but NC State defeated Florida State in their season finale, and received an invitation to play against Notre Dame in the Gator Bowl. Once again, Rivers delivered an MVP performance in the most important game of the year, pacing the Wolfpack to a dominating 28-6 win over Notre Dame. The game would set up a remarkable year for Rivers in 2003. 2003 As a senior, Rivers had an outstanding season. In 12 games, he threw for 4,491 yards and 34 touchdowns, capping his career as the most productive and durable quarterback in ACC history. During his 4 years, he started 51 straight games and completed a conference record 1,147 passes in 1,710 tries, with 95 TDs. Rivers' time at NC State had a great ending, leading the Wolfpack to a 56-26 win over Kansas in his third Tangerine Bowl. In the victory, he threw for a career-high 475 yards and 5 touchdowns. Phillip earned his 4th straight Bowl MVP award. At the end of the season, Rivers was named ACC Player of the Year for the 2003 football season and ACC Athlete of the Year for 2003 April. He was considered a Heisman candidate by some journalists, but he was not invited to the Heisman Trophy presentation. During his collegiate career, Rivers shattered almost every NC State and ACC passing record. His career culminated with an NCAA record 51st consecutive college start. The Wolfpack went to 4 consecutive bowl games under the leadership of Rivers, winning 3 of them, including a New Year's Day victory over Notre Dame in the 2003 Gator Bowl. Rivers finished his career at NC State with 13,484 passing yards, 4th all-time among Division I quarterbacks. He also threw 95 touchdown passes, which ties him for 8th all-time with Cliff Kingsbury and Brady Quinn. Rivers' number was retired before his final home game at North Carolina State. Professional career Pre-draft 2004 NFL Draft Rivers was projected to be an early first-round pick in the 2004 NFL Draft. But despite Rivers' record of success in college and remarkable accuracy, questions about his lack of arm strength and his unorthodox sidearm throwing motion were concerns for some NFL GMs. The pre-draft consensus was that Rivers could be selected by the Pittsburgh Steelers with the 11th pick. The Chargers coveted Eli Manning and wanted to select him with their first-round pick, which was also the first overall pick of the draft. However, after Eli Manning indicated before the draft that he would not sign with the San Diego Chargers, the Chargers were forced to adjust their plans. Rivers was their first alternative to Manning because the Chargers head coach at the time, Marty Schottenheimer, had coached Rivers at the Senior Bowl and he liked what he saw from Rivers. The Chargers agreed to a trade on draft day with the New York Giants. Manning was selected by the San Diego Chargers, then later in the draft traded for Rivers, selected with a 4th pick by the Giants. The Chargers also received draft picks from the Giants that were used to select future Pro Bowlers Sean Merriman and Nate Coeding. Quarterback class of 2004, Rivers was one of 17 quarterbacks taken in the 2004 NFL Draft along with Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, and Matt Schaub. Rivers, Roethlisberger, Schaub and Manning have been voted to the Pro Bowl since becoming starters. None had produced a season with a losing record until Schaub in 2010, but Roethlisberger and Manning both have won 2 Super Bowls. They have been compared favorably to the quarterback class of 1983, which included Hall of Fame quarterbacks John Elway, Jim Kelly, and Dan Marino. San Diego Chargers 2004, in August 2004, Rivers signed a 6-year, $40.5 million contract with the San Diego Chargers that included $14.5 million in signing bonuses. However, due to a protracted contract negotiation with the San Diego Chargers, Rivers only reported to the team during the last week of training camp, and incumbent Drew Brees retained his starting job. Rivers began the season as the Chargers' 3rd QB option, behind Doug Flutie, and ahead of the number 4 quarterback Cleo Lemon. Unfortunately for Rivers, Brees went on to have a then-career year and was named to the NFL Pro Bowl while winning the NFL Comeback Player of the Year award. Rivers received very limited playing time, playing in only 2 games. He only threw passes in the second half of the last game of the 2004 season, by which time the Chargers had already clinched a home playoff spot and the AFC West Division title. He threw his first touchdown pass to fellow rookie Malcolm Floyd. He was not on the active roster for San Diego, a unregistered trademark S playoff loss to the New York Jets. 2005, Rivers was promoted to number 2 on the Chargers quarterback depth chart after Flutie was released. Rivers was unable to beat out Brees for the starting quarterback job in the Chargers' 2005 training camp and preseason. In the Chargers' final game of the 2005 season, at home in Qualcomm Stadium, Rivers entered the game after Brees dislocated his right shoulder late in the second quarter due to a hit from Denver Broncos safety John Lynch. Rivers completed 12 of 22 passing attempts for 115 yards with 1 interception and 2 fumbles. The Chargers lost to Denver, 20-7. However, Rivers led the Chargers on their only scoring drive that game, which culminated in a 4-yard touchdown run by LaDainian Tomlinson. 2006. After the 2005 season, Brees was not re-signed by the Chargers. Instead he signed a large contract that included sizable guaranteed money with the New Orleans Saints, during the 2006 free agency period. Many doubted the Chargers' decision to change quarterbacks as they were a Super Bowl contender, believing that Rivers' inexperience would hinder them. Rivers was named the Chargers' starter going into training camp. Expectations were high for Rivers due to the large amount of talent on the San Diego Chargers offense and the performance of his peers from the 2004 draft as starters. Football Outsiders projected that Rivers would become an NFL star before the 2006 season due to his spectacular completion percentage in college. After just 5 NFL starts, Rivers was named the second-best NFL quarterback under 25 years of age by Sports Illustrated. On September 11, 2006, Rivers made his first NFL start against the Oakland Raiders. Rivers managed the game well despite only passing 11 times, but completed 8 passes, 1 for a touchdown, in a 27-0 rout of the Raiders. After his first game, Rivers led the NFL in QB rating with 133.9. The 5th week of the season, the reigning Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers came to town, and Bill Cowher's defensive game plan revolved around stopping running back LaDainian Tomlinson. This game marked a turning point for Rivers, who, aided by head coach Marty Schottenheimer's opening of the playbook, led the team in a come-from-behind victory, throwing 24 of 37 for 242 yards and 2 touchdowns, winning 23-13. On November 12, 2006, Rivers had the best game of his short career and led the San Diego Chargers to an improbable comeback on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. Down 28-7 at halftime, Rivers led the Chargers on 6 drives culminating in touchdowns. After driving in for the Chargers' first touchdown after halftime, Nick Hardwick, the Chargers center, reminisced about Rivers, mimicking his southern drawl, "He's yelling y'all don't think we're out of this" to the Bengals. When he said that, I said, "Shoot, I guess we ain't out of this." Right on. He threw for 337 yards and 3 touchdown passes, while LaDainian Tomlinson scored 3 of their 4 rushing touchdowns. San Diego outscored Cincinnati 42-13 in the second half, winning the game 49-41, matching the biggest comeback in 23 years for the Chargers. The following week against what was considered at the time to be a strong Denver Broncos defense, the Chargers became the first team in NFL history to win back-to-back road games after trailing by 17 or more points and also the first team to win 4 straight when allowing at least 27 points in each game. Rivers led several fourth-quarter comebacks in 2006, and posted the league's highest fourth-quarter quarterback rating. His performance over the season led to his selection to the 2007 Pro Bowl. After a 14-2 season, the Chargers had home field advantage and were set to play the New England Patriots in the divisional round of the playoffs. However, the Patriots won that game, and Schottenheimer soon after lost his job. The Patriots went on to the AFC Championship, where they lost to the Indianapolis Colts 38-34. 2007. Nav Turner took over as the head coach of the Chargers in 2007. After a 1-3 start, the Chargers found their groove, finishing 11-5 and winning the AFC West for the second straight year. The Chargers also won their first 2 playoff games since the 1994 season, beating the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts before falling to the Patriots in the AFC Championship Game 21-12. In the 2007 AFC Championship Game, Rivers was lauded by his teammates and the press for playing the entire game with a torn anterior cruciate ligament, which later required surgery and was ranked among the NFL top 10 gutsiest performances. Chris Harry of the Orlando Sentinel said, "I don't think anyone will ever accuse Philip Rivers of being soft." Kevin Acee of the San Diego Union Tribune said, "To go out there and put his knee, and ultimately his career, on the line. It has to go down as one of the gutsiest performances." 2008. In 2008, Rivers led the NFL in multiple categories including touchdown passes, passer rating, and yards per pass attempt, and adjusted yards per attempt. On December 28, 2008, Rivers set the Chargers team record for touchdown passes in a season with 34, a record previously held by Dan Fouts, who had 33 in 1981. After a 4-8 start, Rivers threw 11 touchdown passes and only 1 interception to win the final 4 games of the season, winning the AFC West Division against the Denver Broncos with the score 52-21, leading them to the playoff against the Colts. Despite having good stats in 2008, Rivers was only able to lead his team to an 8-8 record, and they were able to win the division over Denver by a tiebreaker. On January 3, 2009, the San Diego Chargers defeated the Indianapolis Colts 23-17 to advance to the AFC Divisional Playoff. Rivers led the Chargers down the field down 3 points with under 2 minutes left. He set up Nate Corrading for a game-tying field goal that would lead to overtime, where the Chargers would go on to win 23-17, thanks to a Darren Sproles touchdown. In the divisional round versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, Rivers played well, throwing for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but was sacked 4 times and threw an interception. Despite his efforts, the team fell short and lost to the Steelers 35-24. They possessed the ball for only 17 seconds during the third quarter and had only 15 yards rushing. 2009, on August 24, 2009, Rivers signed a 6-year, $92 million contract extension with the Chargers, with approximately $38 million guaranteed. Rivers was voted into his second career Pro Bowl on December 29. He ended the season with a passer rating of 104.4, the third highest in the entire NFL, after passing for 4,254 yards, 28 touchdowns with only 9 interceptions. For the second consecutive year, he led the NFL in yards per attempt and adjusted yards per attempt. He led the Chargers to the second seed in the AFC with a 13-3 record, tied for second best in the NFL. In the divisional round of the playoffs, Rivers was 27-40 for 298 yards while rushing and throwing for a touchdown and was intercepted twice. The Chargers lost 17-14 to the New York Jets, who moved on to play the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC Championship, which they lost 30-17. 2010, Rivers led the league in passing yards, throwing for a career-high 4,710 yards, 10 yards more than second-place finisher, Peyton Manning. The Chargers started off the year slowly again at 3-5 and finished a disappointing 9-7, and their 4-year reign as AFC West champions ended while they missed the playoffs. Rivers' top wide receiver, Vincent Jackson, did not make a catch until the Chargers' 13th game of this season after a suspension due to a contract dispute with the team. In Week 3 against the Seattle Seahawks, Rivers threw for 455 yards and 2 TDs in a losing effort 20-27. These 455 yards broke the San Diego Chargers' single-game record for most passing yardage, previously held by Dan Fouts, who had 444 in 1982. Rivers went over 400 yards and threw 2 touchdowns, but lost to the Oakland Raiders in Week 5. In Week 8, Rivers threw for 305 yards, with 2 touchdowns and 1 interception in a 33-25 win against the Tennessee Titans, extending his active player leading streak to 21 games with a touchdown thrown and giving him the record for most passing yards ever after 8 games, passing Dan Fouts' previous record. Rivers threw for 4 touchdowns, 2 to backup tight end Randy McMichael and the other 2 to rookie receiver Sia Girotutu in a comeback 29-23 victory over the Houston Texans. The Chargers' top receivers Gates, Vincent Jackson, Malcolm Floyd, and Leish Dunani did not play in the game. Rivers lost his first ever game in December, a 13-28 loss at home against the Oakland Raiders. Rivers was invited to the 2011 Pro Bowl, his 4th invite overall, and started in place of an injured Tom Brady. It was the first time he played in a Pro Bowl, twice missing previous games due to injury and once for the birth of his child in the 2010 Pro Bowl. Rivers was named the quarterback in the 2010 NFL Alumni Player of the Year awards over Brady, the unanimous selection for the Associated Press 2010 Most Valuable Player Award. 2011, entering the 2011 season, Nick Canapor of the San Diego Union-Tribune called Rivers a better quarterback than Fouts, a first-ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. Canapor cited Rivers, completing passes to an astounding 17 different receivers in 2010. Amid the injuries to Chargers receivers, and his then 55-25 record as a starter compared to 86-84-1 for Fouts. He also noted, Fouts made more mistakes than Rivers. Rivers had completed 63.7% of his 2,455 passes with 58 interceptions and a 97.2 passer rating, while Fouts was successful on 58.8% of his 5,604 attempts with 242 interceptions and an 80.2 rating. Rivers had never thrown more than 2 interceptions in a game, including 7 playoff games. His passer rating was the highest in league history, and he had the second-best touchdown-to-interception ratio of all time. Rivers and the Chargers started out the season with a 24-17 win over the Minnesota Vikings. Rivers had 335 passing yards and 2 touchdowns thrown to running back Mike Tolbert. He threw 2 interceptions for the first time in his career. Rivers and the Chargers lost 35-21 in Foxborough to the New England Patriots in Week 2. Rivers threw for 378 passing yards and had 2 touchdown passes to Vincent Jackson but also threw 2 interceptions again. Rivers threw 2 more interceptions for the 3rd game in a row as the Chargers held off the winless Kansas City Chiefs in Week 3, 20-17. In Week 4, the Chargers beat the winless Miami Dolphins 26-16, and Rivers threw a 55-yard touchdown to Vincent Jackson. In Week 5, Rivers threw for 250 yards and a touchdown pass to Malcolm Floyd. He added a rushing touchdown as well. Despite 2 turnovers by him, the Chargers held off the Denver Broncos 29-24. Rivers struggled in Week 7 after the bye. Rex Ryan's New York Jets limited Rivers to 179 passing yards and 2 interceptions. He did throw a touchdown to Antonio Gates, his first of the year. The Chargers lost 23-20 to the Chiefs in overtime on Halloween. Rivers put up 369 yards, but had 2 interceptions and a crashing fumble. Rivers' poor performance during the 2011 season led to media speculation that he may have been suffering from an undisclosed injury. His former teammate, LaDainian Tomlinson, speculated that Rivers might be distracted by the burden of being the Chargers' star player. Rivers had a whopping 385 yards passing and added 4 touchdowns, but threw 3 crashing interceptions against the defending champion Green Bay Packers. Rivers threw for 274 passing yards and an interception and a fumble in a 24-17 Week 10 loss against the Oakland Raiders. He did, however, throw 2 touchdowns to rookie Vincent Brown. Rivers threw for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns in a 31-20 loss to the Chicago Bears. He added 2 more interceptions thrown. The touchdown passes went to Antonio Gates and Vincent Jackson. The Chargers lost 16-13 in overtime to Tim Tebow and the Denver Broncos. Rivers threw for 188 yards and a touchdown to Antonio Gates. The Chargers finally won a game in Week 13, dominating the Jacksonville Jaguars 38-14. Rivers finished with 294 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Rivers and the Chargers dominated the Buffalo Bills in Week 14, winning 37-10. Phillip threw for 240 yards and 3 touchdowns, 2 to Antonio Gates and Patrick Creighton. Rivers and the Chargers dominated the Baltimore Ravens in Week 15. Phillip had 270 yards and a touchdown to Malcolm Floyd in a 34-14 stomping. Rivers and the Chargers struggled in Week 16. On Christmas Eve, the Chargers fell 38-10 in Detroit to the Lions. Rivers had 299 passing yards and a touchdown, but 2 interceptions. Rivers concluded the season by throwing for 310 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, to Floyd, Jackson, and to Gates, in a 38-26 win against the Oakland Raiders, ending the Raiders' playoff hopes that season. 2012. The Chargers began the 2012 season with a 3-1 record for the second consecutive season. In a 37-20 win over Kansas City in Week 4, Rivers started his 100th career game, which was also his 100th consecutive start. Rivers became 7th fastest quarterback in NFL history to reach 25,000 career yards. With a weak offensive line that season, Rivers was frequently forced to scramble and was sacked 49 times and hit on 70 other plays, contributing to his 22 turnovers (47 over the previous 2 seasons. The Chargers' 7-9 record was the first losing season in Rivers' career, and the team's first since 2003. They missed the playoffs for the 3rd straight season, leading to the firing of Turner and general manager A.J. Smith. 2013. Rivers combined 35 interceptions the 2 previous seasons led many to wonder whether he was injured or if his career was on the decline. Only 2 offensive coaches returned in 2013 in an overhauled coaching staff led by new head coach Mike McCoy, and a revamped offensive system had Rivers released the ball earlier and taking what opposing defenses conceded. In their Week 2 win over the Philadelphia Eagles, he threw for 419 yards and 3 touchdowns. In their Week 4 win over the Dallas Cowboys, Rivers set an NFL record for completion percentage for a quarterback who also threw for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. In Week 7, Rivers surpassed 30,000 career yards passing. Rivers is now second in Chargers history behind Dan Fouts. Rivers was also selected to the Pro Bowl for the 5th time in his career. In Week 17 against the Kansas City Chiefs, Rivers led a fourth-quarter and overtime comeback to win the game, and clinched the 6th seed in the AFC playoffs. During the Chargers' season-ending 4-game winning streak, Rivers completed 67.3% of his passes with 9 touchdowns and a 142.6 rating. He finished the season completing 378 of 544 passes for 4,478 yards, 32 touchdowns and just 11 interceptions. His 105.5 passer rating tied his career high from 2008. With the Chargers having a capable running attack, an adjusted offensive line, and an improved defense, Rivers was not pressured to force his throws, and he led all quarterbacks in the league with a 49.4 third down conversion rate when passing. He led the Chargers to a 27-10 win in the wildcard playoffs against Cincinnati before losing to Denver in the divisional playoffs, 24-17. He was named Comeback Player of the Year by both Associated Press and Pro Football Writers Association. 2014. The Chargers in 2014 lost their final game of the season when a win would have qualified them for the playoffs. Rivers was sacked a career-high 7 times in the loss. For the season, he was voted by the Chargers as their MVP after finishing with 4,286 yards, 31 TDs and 18 interceptions. It was the 6th season in which he passed for over 4,000 yards. During Weeks 2-6, he became the first NFL player ever to have a passer rating over 120 for 5 consecutive games. Later in the season, Rivers suffered from sore ribs and a back injury, but he denied that they affected his performance. His 71.2 rating in December was his lowest in a single month since November 2007. Rivers was invited to the 2015 Pro Bowl, but did not attend due to his multitude of injuries. 2015. On August 15, 2015, the Chargers and Rivers agreed to a 4-year, $84 million contract extension. On September 20, Rivers threw his 255th touchdown pass as a Charger, passing Dan Fouts as the franchise leader in touchdown passes. On October 18, in a game against the Green Bay Packers, Rivers set franchise records for passing yards, completions, and attempts. Statistics Regular season Postseason Notable accomplishments NFL records Rivers set an NFL record for completion percentage for a quarterback who also threw for over 400 yards, most consecutive games with 400 yards passing, most touchdowns between a single quarterback and tight end, most consecutive games with a passer rating above 120. Chargers franchise records most pass attempts in a game, 65, most pass completions in a game, 43, most passing yards in a game, 503, most career passing touchdowns, 256, most career wins, 88, most regular season wins in a single season, 14, most pass completions in a single season, 379, highest completion percentage, career, 64.7, highest completion percentage, season, 69.5, highest completion percentage, game, 90.0%. Most passing touchdowns in a single season, 34, most consecutive seasons with at least 25 touchdown passes, 7, most game-winning drives in a single season, 5, most consecutive seasons with 4,000 passing yards, 4, most consecutive seasons with 3,000 passing yards, 9, most seasons with 4,000-plus passing yards, 6, most seasons with 3,000-plus passing yards, 9, most 400-plus yard passing games, career Euro 6, highest yards per attempt, career, 7.8, highest yards per attempt, season, 8.7, most career yards per game, 247.7, highest passer rating, career, 95.7, highest passer rating, season, 105.5, most consecutive games with at least one touchdown pass, 28, most consecutive starts by a quarterback, 144. Awards and honors Fiverr, Pro Bowl, 2008 Pro Bowl alternate, 2010 NFL Alumni Players of the Year, Fora, AFC Offensive Player of the Month, NFL Comeback Player of the Year, 2014 Pro Bowl alternate. Personal life, Rivers, a devout Roman Catholic, married his junior high school sweetheart, Tiffany, in 2001. She converted to the Catholic faith. They have 8 children, and reside in San Diego, California. On January 31, 2010, Philip and Tiffany Rivers' daughter, Sarah Catherine, was born. He had been selected to the AFC Pro Bowl team the same year but did not make it to the game in South Florida due to her birth. In an interview with NFL Network on the June 10, 2011, Rivers stated the family was expecting their 6th child. Rivers was a guest on Blessed to Play hosted by Ron Mayer where he discussed the importance of his faith and football career. On October 28, 2013, Philip and Tiffany welcomed their 7th child. In April 2015, Rivers and his wife confirmed they were expecting their 8th child. On October 28, 2015 their daughter Claire was born. In 2011, he was named one of 3 finalists for the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award for his work with the Rivers of Hope Foundation, an endeavor he and his wife oversaw from 2010-12 to help foster children. The foundation raised more than $1 million for the cause through football camps, a 5K fun run and personal contributions from Rivers. The foundation supported the San Pasqual Academy, a residential education campus designed specifically for foster teens. Rivers comes from an athletic family. He, his father Steve, and his younger brother Stephen have all played college football. Steve played linebacker at Mississippi State in the 1970s. Steven committed to play college football at Louisiana State University after attending Austin High School and Athens High School. On June 5, 2014, he transferred to Vanderbilt University and was eligible to play immediately, but wound up transferring to Northwestern State University for the 2015 season. Rivers received an honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters and addressed the class of 2014 at the 125th Annual Commencement Ceremony of the Catholic University of America on May 17, 2014. See also, List of NFL quarterbacks who have passed for 400 or more yards in a game, List of 300-yard passing games by NFL quarterbacks, most consecutive starts by a quarterback, most wins by a starting quarterback, NFL starting quarterback playoff records, NFL career passer rating leaders, List of North Carolina State University people, List of Division I FBS passing yardage leaders, List of Division I FBS passing touchdown leaders. References. External links, career statistics and player information from NFL.com, a Eurocent, ESPN, a Eurocent, CBS Sports, a Eurocent, Yahoo Sports, a Eurocent, SI.com, a Eurocent, Pro Football Reference, a Eurocent, Roto World, Philip Rivers Youth Football Camp, Philip Rivers 5K Celebrity Walk and Fun Run.